we talked, you were doing a really cool 5K, but I wanted to learn a little bit more about the charity that you do. So just start us off. What is the charity, and what do you guys raise money for, and who do you help?
Yeah, so Ddembe Ministries is the name of the organization, and we are an orphan, widow, and family care ministry that's based in Jinja, Uganda. So we have a children's home that helps kids ages elementary up through middle school. It gives them a safe place to live, to grow up, to live in more of a family-like environment. We also have a baby's home, so it is a place where babies who've been abandoned and orphaned, they also have a safe and loving home, and we have a widow ministry, so there's really a lot of arms of what we do in Uganda.
And how did you start this? I mean, we're in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. I mean, we're not there.
Yeah.
How did this become such a passionate thing for you?
So my family first went over to Uganda when I was in middle school, which was probably about 12 years ago now. And it was from that trip that we ended up adopting my two youngest siblings. And then a little while after we adopted them, the children's home that they had grown up in shut down really unexpectedly. And then all the kids that lived in that home were sent back out to wherever they had come from. And some of them, that was okay because they maybe had some sort of extended family or some form of caretakers. And then for others, they had no one to take care of them, or they were going back to really dangerous situations. And so Ddembe was kind of birthed from that. My dad was actually one of the founders of the ministry, along with a woman from Texas, and then one of our very dear friends. His name is Moses Musambi, who's Ugandan. And so the three of them founded the ministry together.
That's so wonderful. So all it was just a trip over there, and then all of a sudden, here comes this charity from Hattiesburg coming over to help. I mean, I think that's so fascinating that it was a one-trip thing that kind of, well, wow, we got to help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was the one trip that just kind of continued to just snowball and grow over the years. It definitely wasn't like a quick thing, but it was just, as we were moving forward, these new doors were opening and new opportunities were being presented to us. And so my dad was just very much of one who, when the Lord presented an opportunity and he had the ability to help, he would just say, why not? Why don't we do this?
Yeah, and if people don't know, we're outside a train depot here in Hattiesburg. So if you hear the train, you kind of know where she's located. How inspiring was your father? I mean, he's got to be, why you still do this.
Absolutely. I mean, my dad was an amazing man. He had lots of talents. He had his own graphic design agency that he founded called Rare Design. He was very much an entrepreneur and just was such a visionary. And everyone who knew him just loved him. But one of the things that he would always tell me that was one of the most impactful things to me, and I always share with people, is he had this phrase that he would say, and it was this word called reverb. And so he would say, we all have reverb, people that we touch and change, and wherever we go. And so that's just something that I always remember. And I see his reverb, the ripple effects of his life and the choices that he made and the things that he did that are helping so many people, even though he has since passed away. And so that's something that I've always wanted as well is, I also have people that I touch and impact. And so that was really such an inspiration to me.
What's one of the things that people maybe don't know that is one of the biggest struggles of those kids in Uganda that, we know that sometimes maybe it's food, maybe it's housing. I mean, is there something that we maybe aren't aware of that they are struggling with?
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of a lot of the normal things that we would think of, which is, like you're saying, educational needs is a struggle because, in the U.S., school, you can go to school for free and that sort of thing, but in Uganda, you have to pay to be able to go to school. So if your family can't afford for you to go to school, then you're not able to do that. So that's one need that we offer educational sponsorships to kind of help with that. And our situation is a little bit more unique because we're very specific in the areas that we're working in. So, we're working with kids who've been orphaned, who've been abused, and so we're a little bit more focused in on that specific area of work and of helping in Uganda.
What are some of the new things that you guys are trying to push right now?
Yeah, so one of the things that we're really working on right now, we took on a baby's home back in January of 2024. And so this is something, it was a home that was being being run by a different organization, and very much like the early days in the founding of Ddembe, that organization just sort of crumbled, and there was no one else to take care of those babies. All of the other children's homes and babies' homes in our region were full, so there was nowhere that those babies could go, no one to take care of them, and so that's when we stepped in and kind of took that on as Ddembe. But there's a lot of improvements that need to happen on the property where our baby's home is, so that's kind of one of the things we're working on right now. We're working on building a security wall around the property to really keep our babies safe, and our mamas who are working there taking care of them. Also working on some of like the sanitation in the restrooms so that everything is really safe and clean for everyone. There's just a lot of disrepair that we're working on fixing right now.
Well, I think you guys do a fantastic job, and it's really nice that people are willing to do this for people that, some of them, that they don't even know personally, and you're just doing it for the better good of humans. If someone wants to donate, if they want to help you out, how would they go about that?
Yeah, so you can find us online, ddembe.org. That's ddembe.org. And so there, we have a place where you can give online there. That's one way that you can be a part, whether you're a one-time or a recurring donor. We love anyone to be able to help, and so you can find us there. We also are on Instagram and Facebook if anybody wants to kind of picture, you know, what does Ddembe look like? Who are the people that they're actually helping? You can really get more of a visual of that and just learn even more about what we're doing.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.